Hello, I'm David Hughes. Welcome to Your Perfect Body, the podcast of the Esoteric Teaching Community. Today's selection is an essay entitled You Cannot Stop War, Part 3. Arjuna wanted to stop the battle of Kurukshetra because he didn't want to kill his kinsman. But he didn't stop to consider how determined the other side was. Even if he ran from the battle, the fight would have come to him. It was time to fight, and even Krishna, who tried every means to stop the battle, approved of it. Therefore, there was no sin for Arjuna in fighting a war based on principles of dharma. So the whole point of Bhagavad Gita is simply that you should not act for yourself, but you should act for the pleasure of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What to speak of fighting for Krishna on religious principles? Even illicit sex is not abominable when it is done for Krishna. For example, the gopis are captivated in love of Krishna. Krishna is a very beautiful young boy, and the gopis are beautiful young girls. At least, that is the superficial appearance of their relationship. Actually, the gopis are fully self-realized eternal associates of Krishna. Chintamani prakara sadmashu kalpa vriksha lakshabriteshu surabhir abhipalayantam lakshmi sahasra satasambhrama sevyamanam govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of desire trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis, or gopis. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitabhish tabhirya eva nijarupataya kalabhihi goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidants, Shakis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever-blissful spiritual rasa. Brahma Samhita 5:29 and 37. The gopis are expansions of Krishna's pleasure potency, Srimati Radharani. They are meant for Krishna's pleasure. They may appear to be ordinary women, but they are actually great self-realized souls. Just to teach us how to love Krishna at the risk of losing everything, they engaged in conjugal loving affairs with Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan. Therefore, the gopis left their homes and families when they were attracted by Krishna playing his transcendental flute in the forest of Vrindavan at midnight. Some of the gopis were locked up by their families, and they even gave up their lives out of separation from Krishna. They were so much attracted to him. Now, this kind of behavior is normally considered completely unacceptable in Vedic society. According to Vedic civilization, women cannot leave the protection of their father, husband, or brother. There is no way they can go, especially to dance at midnight with a young boy. This was completely against Vedic moral and religious principles. It was openly a kind of prostitution. But because it was done for Krishna, the greatest spiritual authority, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Ramya Kachid Upasana Braja Vadhubhihi Kalpita. There is no better type of worship of Krishna than that was conceived by the Braja Gopis. We must cultivate Krishna consciousness favorably, anukulyena Krishnanusilanam. This means always thinking of how Krishna will be satisfied. The Krishna consciousness of the gopis was perfect because they had no desire other than to please Krishna. That is the perfection. So we must always think of Krishna, just like the gopis. Brajavadhu means the most abominable action. For a young girl to leave the care of her husband or father and go to another young boy, according to Vedic culture, is the most abominable sin. But because the center was Krishna, it is accepted as the highest type of worship. This is because the values of the material world and the spiritual world are diametrically opposite. The highest success in the material world, global domination for unlimited economic and political exploitation, is considered spiritual poverty, spiritual suicide. But when the most abominable sinful activity in the material world, illicit sex life or infidelity, is applied in the service of Krishna, it becomes the highest form of devotional service. This is Krishna consciousness. We have to learn how to act only for Krishna, how to love only Krishna. Then our life is successful. And the human life is such a rare opportunity to attain self-realization. We have come down to this material world from Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, millions and millions of lives ago. There is a beautiful song by our predecessor, our great-great-grand guru, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, called Anadi Karma Phale, where he sings, "I have fallen into the ocean of material existence as a result of my selfish activities, which are without beginning, and I see no means of deliverance from this great ocean of nescience. Day and night my heart burns from the poison of these worldly activities, and on account of this my mind never finds any satisfaction or happiness. Hundreds and thousands of desires, like nooses around my neck, constantly give me misery and trouble. In that great ocean of nescience play the waves of materialistic tendency. In this world there are many thieves and rogues, of whom 6 are prominent: lust, anger, greed, illusion, and madness. They are causing me great fear, and in this way my life is coming to an end. The 2 highway robbers, mental speculation and fruitive activity, have cheated me and misled me, and finally they are throwing me into the ocean of misery. At such a time as this, my dear Krishna, you are the only friend, and you are the ocean of mercy and compassion. I have no strength to get out of this ocean of nescience, so I pray to your lotus feet that you will be kind and by your strength uplift me from this ocean of suffering. Accept this fallen servant and fix me as a particle of dust at your lotus feet. Kindly give shelter to this Bhakti Vinod. O merciful Lord, actually I am your eternal servant, but having forgotten this, I have become bound up in the network of Maya." Anadi Karma Phale. Anadi means before the creation. We living entities are eternal. Even the creation is annihilated after millions and billions of years, but the living entities are not annihilated. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin, nayang bhutva bhavita va nabhuyaha. Ajo nitya sashvato yang purano, nahanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Bhagavad Gita 2:20. So the souls remain eternally, and until they attain liberation, so does their karma. So when this whole cosmic manifestation is annihilated, the living entities will remain in suspension in the body of Mahavishnu. Then, when another creation takes place, they will come out again to fulfill their desires and act according to the karma generated by their activities in the previous creation. The real desire, the real pleasure, the real salvation of every spirit soul is how to go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna gives this opportunity in the esoteric teaching. But if this chance is misused, there is no guarantee that you will be able to qualify for the human form of life for a long, long time. There are so many millions of species of life on the different planets of this universe, and human